often lose sight of the fact that the first period of Philippine literary history is the longest. The stages of prehistory show how the early Filipinos grew in control over their environment. The early inhabitants of the Philippine archipelago had a native alphabet or syllabary, which among the Tagalog referred to as the baybayin.
The baybayin is an inscription to Sanskrit. Through baybayin, literary forms were written.
One of such literary form is the folk speech, bugtong.
Riddle in English is a metaphor, for it reveals subtle resemblances between two different objects.
Another literary form is the salawikain or sarsarita in Ilocos.
Philippine proverbs contain sayings that imparts a lesson and reflects standard norms in the community.
On a study conducted by Professor Damiana Eugenio, she classifies Philippine proverbs into 6 groups according to subject matter.
First, proverbs expressing a general attitude towards life. Second, proverbs that recommends ethical virtues. Third, proverbs expressing a system of values. Fourth, proverbs that tells general truth about human nature. Fifth, humorous proverbs. Lastly, miscellaneous proverbs.
Another literary form is the legend.
These are written in prose form. The common theme is about the origin of a thing, place, or a name. The events are devoid of truth, for its aim is to entertain.
Another literary form is the folktales.
Folktales help us appreciate our environment and improve our perspectives in life.
Another literary form is the epic.
These are long narrative poems that deals with heroic achievements.
Another form of a literary text is the folk songs. Another form of literary is about the mythological creatures.
Philippine mythology includes a collection of tales and superstitions about magical entities.
The existing literature of the Philippine ethnic groups at the time of conquest and conversion into Christianity was mainly oral. Before the Spaniards moved into the Philippines, they've set goals known as the 3Gs.
God. It aims to convert the natives into Christians. Gold. The accumulation of wealth. Glory. The supremacy of Spain as the most powerful.
Spain also brought liberal ideas and international perceptions. The first book printed in the Philippines was the Christian Doctrine.
Doctrina Christiana became the basis of religious practices. It was a prayer book that eventually employed native speakers as translators.
This development marked the beginning of Indio-literacy.
These writers were called Ladinos because of their fluency in Spanish.
Along with the influences of Spaniards, there were Filipino writers who were born.
Jose de la Cruz. He was the foremost exponent of comedia. He is a poet of prodigious outputs and urban styles.
Another popular writer is the very famous Balagtas.
He is an acknowledged master of traditional Tagalog poetry.
His very well-known poem, Florante and Laura, talks about the tyranny in Albania. Another prominent writer is Dr. Jose Rizal.
Rizal's two novels are No Limitangere and its sequel, El Filibusterismo. Our national hero chose realistic novel as his medium of writing.
No Limitangere is a chronicle of life and ultimate death of Ibarra, a Filipino educated in abroad who attempts to reform his country through education. In the Filibusterismo, he hastens social decay by further corrupting the social system violently. Following closely on the failed reformist movement, Philippine Revolution was headed by Andres Bonifacio.
Bonifacio's liberal ideas about human dignity brought by his poem Pag-ibig sa Tinubuang Lupa. He chose to communicate to his fellow men using their own native language.
It was Philippine literature in English which tapped the folk element in the Philippines and contributed to impressive and spectacular effect. And perhaps a national literature finding its niche among the literatures of the world will not be far behind.